It looks like a, have you ever looked at a hair under a microscope as a strand of hair? That's what it reminded me of.
Okay. And the math professor is on the air once more. Ah. Man, I feel like I've had an exhausting day, and this is my first class.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
So, well, it's good to be understood.
I'm so glad it's Thursday. Oh my goodness.
All right. So, as promised, we're going to do some exercises, and we'll start with exercise 8.1. Right. So I'm going to use Excel. And make this much, much bigger. However, make each cell smaller. Yeah, that looks about square.
How did you do that?
I'm glad you asked that question. What you do, you highlight however many cells you want to change the width of,
Yeah.
right? Because you can do it one at a time.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that takes forever, right? So, let me go back here. All right, so I did A through R, right? But I could have gone here and highlighted however many I wanted, and then if I go here and decrease the size, it does it for all of them.
Cool.
See what you get for missing my computer skills class? I would have taught you that there. All right. Enough of these comedy jokes. All right, so exercise 8.1. We're given a situation, we're given the network, compute early, late, and slack times. What is the project duration? Using any approach you wish, oh man, develop a loading chart for resources, electrical engineers and resource mechanical engineers. Assume only one of each resource exists. Given your resource schedule, compute the early, late, and slack times for your project. Which activities are now critical? What is the project duration now? Could something like this happen in real projects? Okay, so to answer the last question first, yeah, of course, things like this can happen in real projects. I have certainly been in projects where somebody overpromised and our resources were stretched thin as a result. And of course, there's always a multiplicity of ways to deal with that circumstance. Oh, holy crap. What have they got armor casing for this little candy here?
They're getting it for Halloween.
Yeah, drive the kids crazy. All right. So we can see on page 280, the network that they've already given us, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and just duplicate that. Now you'll notice they didn't really do the network the way we were doing it with the network node diagrams. Okay, well, you know, great. Carry on with that, guys. Whatever you need to do to feel happy and excited. Right, but it's still one that works as far as being able to put together a network node diagram. Now, one thing, when you're managing an actual project, and you come up with your network node diagram or even at the time you're doing your precedence chart, think carefully about whether one thing really has to be before another. You know, there are gonna be some obvious ones like draw the concept before you design the concept. But they're going to be somewhere, it might be, well, maybe we need that first, but can we do something else? Right? Always get your team involved. All right, so this is actually just a way of dodging around the fact that they don't, activity 1, all right, great, 0, 2. I much prefer when they use letters for these designations.
I think that I would think that it might throw you off because we're so used to doing the letters. as opposed to the numbers.
Well, it could. I mean, somebody could easily mistake an identification number for one of the crucial numbers about controlling the project. And that would be what George Orwell called double plus ungood. Of course, I'm sure many of you are George Orwell fans.
Who?
Did they not make you read any Orwell in school?
No, they didn't.
Animal Farm or 1984?
No.
Oh, my poor country. All right, so as you can see, I'm almost done here with, oh, didn't put the duration there, very important. And, oh, not $sign, but 4. All right, comes back to me now. Like the hot kiss at the end of a wet fist. All right, so this should be easy enough. Early start is 0. Duration is 2. So our early finish is our late start plus our duration, early start plus our duration. Our early start for activity 4 is going to be equal to the early finish for activity 1. And our early finish is going to be equal to our early start plus duration. Oh, I forgot an arrow. No wonder that all of a sudden everything seemed wrong. All right, so that means that on 5, our early start is equal to our early finish on 4, and our late finish is equal to that early start plus the duration. Right, so that brings me to activity 2, where early start of 0 plus a duration of 4. That translates into an early start equal to my early finish of activity 2. And, uh-oh, don't get carried away, Harry. And so that's equal to early start plus duration. And then activity 3 equals early start plus duration, which means our early start for 7 equals our early finish for 3, and our early finish for 7 is equal to our early start plus our duration. All right. Now, I'm very tempted, instead of just having an end block, to um, to come back around with a, put in another network node type of thing. Obviously, we can't finish before 9. So, I am going to say that 9 is going to be our late finish for everybody. So equals, our late finish equals our early finish for activity 5. The early finish equals the late finish for activity 6, and our late finish equals our early finish for activity 5 again. All right, so going that way, that means that our late finish minus our duration is going to be our late start here. That goes back through the system. All right, so that's equal to our late start, and then our late start minus J3 equals our late start, and then equals our late start minus our duration, which is E3. All right. All right, so we can see there is no slack here right now. Here, we go through our same exercise, equals our late finish minus our duration, right? That translates back, so this is equal to the late start here, and our late start for activity 2 is our late finish minus our duration, which is E7. Our late start for activity 7 is our late finish minus our duration, which means our late finish here equals our late start
Mr.
in
Mike,
7. Yes?
I hate to interrupt you, but Judith is trying to log on Zoom, and she said that your Zoom's not on.
Oh, okay. Totally my fault. I have no excuse for myself. I'm just praying that someday these students will be able to forgive me.
meeting ID followed by pound. Enter your participant ID followed by pound. Otherwise, just press pound to continue. You are in the meeting now. You are the first participant. Please stand by.
All right, my apologies to all you Zoom participants who I slighted by not having you in the class for the first 21 minutes. I have no excuse. All right, so I am building the network and working out the network node diagram for problem 8.1, exercise 8.1. All right. All right, so our late start equals late finish minus duration. All right, so now we can look at where is there slack in the system. There's obviously no slack here, no slack here, and no slack here. However, here we have a slack of 3, and here we also have a slack of 3. Down here, we have a slack of 2 for activity 7, and a slack of 2 for activity 3. All right, so what we are going to do is we're going to create the same kind of Gantt chart that you see there in the famous page 280. All right, so EE and ME. All right, and they have it labeled 0, 1, 2, 3. All right, but I'm going to label it 1, 2, 3, etc. And then I'm just going to run that out until I have lucky 13 time periods. Right, and I'll go ahead and break this up. All right, so we want to create our Gantt chart. We have one of each resource. We have an electrical engineer and a mechanical engineer, right? But this could be an accountant and a marketing guy, could be you're forcing me to confess. While I know practically how to run a business, I have before, my own and others, the actual titles of people, I'm not sure. All right, so let's go with EE and ME. We know that we have to have the EE working the first two periods on activity 1. All right, so I will go ahead and then block that and do merge and center. All right, so activity 1. Activity 2 can be done. Does it say we can stretch this out? It does not. So instead, let's look at our activity 3 for our ME, right? That's a duration of 3. The early start time is at 0, so easy enough. We merge and center, put a big, and we put activity 3. Activity 2 can have a late start at 3, but here we have no slack at all. It's got to start at the very end of 2 and start going. So let's go ahead and do our activity 4. All right, I've got to shorten that up a bit here because it's not fitting into the little square. All right, so there's activity 4. Activity 2, even though we should start at 3 for optimal results, we're going to have to start at 4. All right, so that's activity 2. Our activity 5 has to be done by the ME. That has to start at 3, and it does. And we go 6, for activity 5. All right, so our electrical engineer can start as late as 5, but 5 is already way past. So we put 4 here. For activity 7. All right, now we've got a nasty situation here where we needed activity 6 to start at 7, but it's only for 2. So merge and center, do a big outside line. Activity 6. All right, so you see that the best we can do, given one resource of each, seems to be 11. And it turns out, looking at the answer sheet, always a very handy thing to have when you're doing these problems, that is the same answer that they came up with in the book. All right, so we're going to, yes ma'am.
I am kind of lost, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, so the top EE, you're going by activity 1, the first box way on top, and it's 2 time periods, so that's why number 1 and 2 are blocked, right?
Right.
So then you go to A4, because it's just that you're concentrating on the EE, and then you go to Act 7, because it's the EE.
Right, we could have done everything just following one, or we could, or I kind of did, I was looking at both of them as I was going along.
Yeah.
Look, this is totally a trial and error thing, right? Like, we might say, you know what, 11 periods, isn't there some way we can get that down at all? Right? Then we might try some different things. But this is probably the best that we can do
For now.
well, for this problem, right? And look, don't discount the fact that that our EE, for example, right? We might get to here and he's like, oh, I've got to take off week 8 to go to my daughter's wedding.
Is that slack time built in, like the 12 and 13th at the end?
Oh, no, there's no slack time built in, right? But things happen, right? Instead of going to my daughter's wedding, which probably they would let you know about way in advance, it's, my wife has been in a serious accident, she's in the hospital, I don't know when I'm gonna be able to come back to work, right?
Yeah.
Well, cancel that thought, but those are the kinds of things we encounter. Or, one thing I found out years after I had done the project, I had a bunch of junior engineers working for me, and because they were working all over the Army depot, right? It wasn't like they were in the office and I could count noses every day. I found out years later, after that project was over, that a couple of them would actually come into work, check in with their offices that they were working at, then they would go, they would tell them, oh, I have to go and work on such and such over here, right? They would go get in their car, go to the beach, spend the day at the beach, come back in time for the end of the day. Oh, what a hard day this was.
How did you find out?
Somebody ratted on them years later.
Oh, gosh.
So I know that at least several of my guys were doing that. What can you do? But that's an example of a real life problem in the scheduling, right? These guys actually had too much time on their hands. The government did not expect much of us. The expectations were so low that we were killing it. So they're kind of like, oh, why not take a day off? It's a good day for the beach. Besides, it's spring break. All kinds of cute girls are going to be at the beach.
So you mainly had male junior engineers?
Almost all. We had 28 employees. We had one person that was kind of a receptionist, administrative assistant. We had a couple of people that were more senior engineers, the person that was the assistant site manager, me, a couple of other people. But after that, it's all junior engineers. So we had like 24 junior engineers.
Wow.
And almost exclusively, they were straight out of college.
Still wild?
They were wild and crazy. There's no doubt. All right, so now we can go down. Oh, I didn't make my little schedule thing. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so. So I will go ahead and make it all borders. All right, so here we're going to create the schedule for for our resources, which in this case are 1 EE and 1 ME, not IE. I want it to be an IE because that's where my loyalty is these days. Right, so when we think of doing this, we want to think in terms of think in terms of fool around with it. Never just go through it once and say, all right, that's it, I'm done. Look hard and see if you can figure out a way to make it even better. Right? Anytime we see gaps in our Gantt chart, that's a sign that maybe we could do better. Right? On the other hand, if we do know something like, hey, this week my daughter has her wedding, I gotta be gone the whole week. I can't be here at all. I've gotta go handle things, beat up florists, whatever you do with a wedding.
Put money in envelopes.
Well, I've been a best man, but I've never been the groom.
Always a bridesmaid, never a bride?
Kind of. All right, so our early start for activity 1 is obviously 0. And that's also got to be our late start. Our early finish time is going to be 2. And our late finish time is going to be 2, right? So that leaves us 0 slack. For activity 2, we're going to be starting at the end of 3. Our late start is also the end of 3, and that goes until 7. Right, so no slack there. Activity 3 starts at 0. Late start has to be at 0. Early finish is 3. Late finish is 3. And slack is 0. Activities 4, we're starting right on the tail of 2. It has to start at 2. End at 3, end at 3, and again, no slack. Activity 5 is starting at 3. The late start is also 3. It goes until 9. So early finish and late finish are both 9. And our slack is 0. And then for activity 6, that starts at 9. Early start and late start are both at 9. Early finish and late finish, are both at 11, not 1. So 0 slack. And activity 7 starts at 7, either way, either early start or late start, ends at 11, and 0 slack. All right, so because of our resource constrained situation, every activity is critical. I mean, if there's a problem in an activity, we've got to jump on that right that minute and figure out how to fix it. Okay, well, I can see you guys are very excited about that. Yes, ma'am.
Can you go over that scheduling again?
I'm sorry, over the,
The scheduling, like the early start, the late start. I don't understand how, so activity 1 is the one on the top, right?
right.
Okay, so you get your numbers from there.
Here, I will highlight the activity numbers.
Oh, yes.
All right. So yeah, on our original diagram, assuming that we had less resource constraint, we would be able to finish in 9 time units. But because we have the resource constraint of of only having one EE and one ME, we end up with a situation where when we do our Gantt chart, we say, you know what, sorry, can't finish before 11. Now, all I did was, we have the 3 rules. Least duration, most slack, and I forget what the other one is. Embarrassingly enough. So, oh, okay, we are sharing. Thank God for that. Right, so all I did was kind of roughly rule of thumb do it. Perhaps I should have had y'all shout out your ideas here in the meeting, because I'm an old scheduler, so it was just kind of obvious to me, oh, put this here, put that there, etc.
I found the legend, so that's gonna help me a lot.
Well, fantastic. I forget sometimes. I have taught this class so many times. I have done the network node analysis so many times that sometimes I forget that, man, this is new to you guys. I say early start, you're like, which one is that?
I know, I was trying to follow along.
So, all right, well, 8.2 is in your homework. We'll skip that one. The one I was really thinking of going for, although we can go for any one you want. I was thinking of 8.6. I already went ahead and printed out the answer sheet. But if y'all say, no, we demand 8.4.
No, 8.6 is fine.
All right, so let's do a new sheet and enlarge the size tremendously. Well, if I leave it at regular size, you guys are going to be like, hey, I can't see. Very much like the fur trapper in Frank Zappa's song, "Don't go where the huskies go, and don't you eat that yellow snow." No doubt that is something that you learned early on here on the Navajo Nation.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, so 8.6, would you read the setup while I'm creating the...
You have prepared the following schedule for a project in which the key resource is a backhoe. This schedule is contingent on having 3 backhoes. You receive a call from your partner broker who desperately needs one of your backhoes. You tell broker you would be willing to let him have the backhoe if you are still able to complete your project in 11 months. Develop a resource schedule in the loading chart that follows to see if it is possible to complete the project in 11 months with only 2 backhoes. Be sure to record the order in which you schedule the activities using scheduling heuristics. Activities 5 and 6 require 2 backhoes, while activities 1, 2, 3, and 4 require 1. No splitting of activities is possible. Can you say yes to broker's request?
Okay, so 0, we are already given the worked out network node analysis. Zero, two, two, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, and 0, 3, 3, 0, 1, 0, 0, 3, 3. All right, so then we have 2, 4, 4, 3, 1, 3, 5, 2, 2, 7. It's nice you guys want to be together, but hold off there. 3, 5, 7. Oh, I'm sorry, I was talking to the numbers, not the students. So.
Yep, the numbers behave that way sometimes.
And then 7, 6, 9, 0, 2, 0, and 7, 2, 9. Oh, well, that was a mistake. All right, well, just put 7, 2, 9. All right, there we go. All right, and we have the famous arrows we need to put in, so we need to put one like that, one like that, one like that, one that, and then they converge on our final activity. All right, so I put the activity numbers are yellow, the number of backhoes needed for the parts of the project are in the blue. All right, so we need to build the ID, resource, duration, early start, late finish, and slack. Right, so for number 1, it's 1 resource, 1 duration, 0 is the early start, the late finish is 5, and the slack is 4. For activity 2, it's 1 resource, 2 duration, 0 early start time, 3 for late finish time, and 1 slack. For 3, it's 1 resource, 3 duration, 0 early start, 3 late finish, and 0, and 4, bloody hell, is 1 resource, 2 in duration, 2 early start, 7 late finish, 3 slack, and 5. Yes, 5 comes after 4. It comes back to me now. For 5, we need 2 backhoes, 4 4 in duration. 3 is the early start. 7 is the late finish, and 0 slack. And come on, 6, bring it on home. 2 for resources, 2 for duration. 7 is the early start, 9 is the early finish, and 0. All right, so 1, 2, and I expand that out to lucky 13. All right, so what they've done here is they said, you know what, we're going to block out the time from early start to late finish for each of these projects. Okay, so for 1, early start is 0, late finish is 5. So we blocked that out. For 2, early start is 0 and late finish is 3, which is the same for activity 3. Activity 4 can start at the end of 2 and go till 7. Activity 5 can start at the end of 3 and go to 7. And then activity 6 Okay, now, again, we want to look at our duration. And with a slack of 4, you know what, activity 1, you ain't starting till way late. So what activity should we start with immediately? All the activities that start at 0 time, which one has no slack?
The third. Activity 3.
Okay, activity 3. So we've got to start it then, and it's got to go 0 to 3, right? Because I don't believe we're allowed any late, we're not allowed splitting. It comes back to me. I knew it was called something. All right, so how much slack have we got in these other activities that start at 0?
We have 1. And we have 2. No, 1 and 4.
All right, so they both have some slack, but but we, to be the most efficient, we want to use both our resources all the time. Right? So I would say we choose the one with the least slack, and it also has a pretty short duration. So we go 1, 1. All right, so down here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add up how many resources we're using at any time, right? And I'm just going to take that across here. All right, now we get down to period 3, where we're only using one of our resources. Well, you know what? We've got an activity here, 1, that only uses one resource for one period. So I say, put that sucker right up there. All right, so far we're staying in our boundaries, and we haven't violated any part of our now for 5, it's a critical activity. It has got to happen at that time, or does it? Right? We can't go past 11. Our network, if we had all 3 backhoes, would be okay stopping at the end of 9. So our duration here for 4, it's only going to use 1 for 2 periods. Well, obviously, I'm just gonna go ahead and put this down because we can change anytime. All right, but that does mean we have a problem. We can't start 5 because we can't split the activity, so we can't start it until 6. Right? So that's gonna go 2, 2, 2, 2, right? Duration of 4. Which means that, all right, put capital X there, capital X. All right, so that means that here, we've got capital X, and we'll actually put our 2 and 2 here. Oh, not 22 though, because that's way more resources than we have. All right, so that gets us down to where we never have more than 2 of our resources being used at the same time. Now, ladies, even though I consider myself somewhat of an expert on scheduling, that does not by any means mean that I'm perfect or know everything that can be done. So if you see another scheme where we can tighten that up more, feel free to weigh in.
What do you mean tighten up? Like rearrange the whole schedule, or?
We don't actually know what the activities are, so we don't know if we can rearrange the activities or not.
Oh, okay.
Right? That's often the problem with these, with this kind of homework problem, whatever. They now this does get us in by the end of the 11th month, I think they said, or the time periods, which is the requirement. But damn it, I'm always looking for a way to do even better, right? If we could get activity 4 somehow, if we could use both backhoes on that activity and shorten it to 1 time period, then we could get done in 10, which is even better, obviously. All right, but you see that that we end up a lot of times having some kind of ambiguous situations when we do this. If this were a real project that we were working on, we would know more about what all these activities were and whether we could rearrange them or split them, or, you know, use the lag, ladder, hammock activity idea anywhere on them. But of course, we don't know that. All right, well, All right, so actually in the book they came up with the same answer. I feel strangely reassured, but you guys are probably saying, who cares? No, I shouldn't be so flip. Oh. All right, I didn't realize the cap lock was still on. If I haven't said it before, y'all should always feel free to come and take the files that are in the project management folder and put them on your own flash drive and carry them off so that you can look at what I've done. Right, I am realizing now, on the old set of PowerPoints, I had a PDF for each one. I haven't done that for the new one.
Oh,
All right, so problem 11. All right, that's 8. There you go, 11. Good. All right, so the soccer toy project, 811. All right, because of time, if nothing else, I'm not going to, oh, damn it. That's a problem. They expect you to do the network node analysis and then do all the time-phased budget. Oh, death, where's thy sting? All right, well, I am then, in that case, I am going to do 8:11 on the next Tuesday before we plunge into chapter 9. All right, I will save this. And what is today, 10/1?
yes. Are you gonna send that out, or can we give you our flash drive?
I'm gonna let you come up here and download it to your flash drive.
Okay.
Although, as you mention it, I should go ahead and send it out to everybody instead, because all these Zoom guys
Oh, yeah.
are not anywhere close to where they can download that. So, all right, so that's me, Cheryl, that is Rebecca, that is Tylen, that is Judith, and that is Lyndon. All right. right, that's funny. Oh, okay, I didn't put 8. But, all right, this time for sure. All right, so now everyone has a copy. If you're feeling really excited, go ahead and prepare yourself for 8/11 for next Monday.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you very much. I really appreciate everyone showing up. Sorry about forgetting about the Zoom. I have to confess, I am getting confused having to run so many things at once.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Well, thank you. Have a good weekend.
well, thank you very much. Have a safe weekend.
You too.
All right. All right, so, and there, go here, stop share. And put on the old mask.